Start date 2372 point something, rounded off to the nearest decimal point. We're on day 6. Wow, yeah, it's day 6. I am tired, but we're gonna get through this today. I'm hoping today is the last day. Not a ton of work. Hopefully that doesn't bite me in the ass just for saying that. But I want to wrap this thing up today. I'd even really like to see if I can get, the panel powered up today and check stuff. Going to be those last couple circuits that I talked about. I closed out yesterday, and then I'm just literally going to be kind of taking my diagram and tracing through like all my neutrals, where's my hot go, all my signals to just try to further potentially troubleshoot issues I might be having. Throughout the build, I have run into a couple things where it's like, oh no, that doesn't go there. I'm not thinking that right. Because the diagram it's a guide, but the physical connection points are different, obviously, than what the CAD drawing shows. Those are just connections. So I'm going to get on it today. I may not film as much. It does take a little bit of work to be able to film and work at the same time, even though I'm not fantastic at it. But again, really want to close out today with firing this thing up, so I'm going to get on it. Note to self, get a ton. Yeah, 100 pack of these blue 60 gauge, and I'm still running low. And it looks like we need about nearly as many yellows. So I'll update my parts list when I get through all of this. This one's going to have to jump here and out here. I could say consistent, but I don't really want to be routing wires on this side, so this one will hit here and then probably jump back. And then, both of them will follow this path down. Explaining the timing circuits for these PIDs, it might be the same for other brands, I'm not sure, but all this is a relay for your temp. So when it hits that, it just closes the relay, so essentially it just sends through whatever signal that you send on this. I chose to go with 110 volt hot side. It routes through my switches, and then essentially everything goes to the timer, buzzer, and LED, and then that's got the neutral on the other side. So essentially, any of these actions, timer or PID, happen. If the switch is closed connecting that circuit, then it'll send that output through to my alarm. One more, I got the output of the timer. And it's nice going off my diagram too, because I have all the pinouts tied in, so I don't have to look up and know oh, this is the right thing to tie into this. I've done all that kind of tedious stuff, so it doesn't slow me down on my build. Pin 5 on this particular timer is going to be my output. A little concerned about this down here, and then you have to do a pretty hard 90-degree bend on those to, so not interfering with the door. It's really close. It's kind of like these are. So I can't fully pry these switches. Just like I was mentioning, this is that I put a hard bend on there, but it should clear just fine. Looks like it's going to be okay. That is all my timing circuits off my PIDs and my timers, so now I need to run this 2-wire off the push button for my reset. Looking at my timer, both of these are going to route to the top 2 pins, so 8 and 10. I'm going to whip that up with like the cable and everything like I did on the other one. That didn't unpackage clean at all. Like a Cobra in a basket there. One with some really small, thin speaker wire here. Should be just fine for this circuit. It's just reading that it's closed. There's continuity across it, so really small stuff. This is 18 or maybe 22. Folded it back, doubled it up on these. Okay, so this concludes the main wiring of this. I just got to get my temp probes over and my harnesses here. Wow. Yeah. In tracing all my wires through the box, which I still have to finish yet, I found right away that the other side of my 110 red EPO LED doesn't have neutral. There's not a great place down at the bottom of the panel to grab one, so I'm just going to go ahead and pull it off of my volt amp meter, and so I'm going to solder this up. Not ideal to do, but it's just running an LED, so I'm not terribly concerned. As long as this connection's good, I should be just fine. So I fixed my neutral. I was able to solder this and still get everything in there, just minimal shiner showing out, not some big gawky thing hanging out. I went through this, again, not like fine-tooth comb went through, but you know, at a glance, it looks okay. I think anything else I'm going to find when I power it up, if I did wire something wrong. I've got my temp probes in here. Here's kind of like the little loop of excess wire. This is probably the only thing in the box that's really not as clean as I like, but again, I shouldn't be in the panel anyways, really. So this is as clean as it's going to be. It is almost impossible to make this. There's just so much happening here. I added my ground strap in. It's got like a nice loop too. The door shuts nice. I'm going to clean a couple things up and get this thing mounted on the wall and start running my main power off my breaker box. Surprisingly freaking heavy. Oh, if I turn my light on so I can see what the heck I'm doing. Get the three that are nice and easy. Focus on that one that's down at the bottom. I know it's going to give me problems. Yeah. Can't tell you how close that is to everything. This thing, but wow, that looks like something. next step is going to be to get my collet in here, route my cord down. I'm going to pin it down the side, probably pop through this stud, come up into my panel, and then I have my 30 amp GFCI breaker, the 2-pole, to get installed. Okay, I'm into my electrical panel. I did not show that. Get an electrician, or somebody knows what they're doing. You got the 30 amp, it's a GFCI. I'm going to label these. Obviously it is off right now. This is the cable coming out. I'm going to come through here and punch a hole in the stud, route it up and pin it down, and then, and then kick out and come into my panel and start breaking it out into my panel. Still plenty to do before I can energize this thing. I am into my panel. Here's my breakout. This is larger gauge wire, it's 8 gauge, just what I had available. It'll be fine. Need 10. Again, it's about the load. I will take and kind of break this out and feed it left to right. I'll wire it left to right, so I hit my neutral, my ground, and then go over to my relay, put in my L2 red lead, and then get my black lead through the current transformer there. Okay, panels up. I finished up my wiring from the panel into my Brew panel. What a chore, as this whole endeavor has been. I'm going to get you close up here and show you inside the panel. This is my 30 amp breaker, labeled, of course. Fire that up in a second, and we'll see if this thing turns on, and hopefully we don't burn down the house. So coming in, you can see I routed my neutral. There's my ground, my red leg into the relay, and then the black leg in. Now, getting the transformer up here like I had kind of hoped did not happen. I'm not saying I couldn't have made it happen. It would have been extremely difficult. I would have ran risk of putting stress on these very tiny little pins on this transformer. So I opted to just leave this leg longer, loop it through this way, and I just sticky tape this to the bottom. Not the cleanest thing, I guess, but I think it's a good solution, and it, from a visual aesthetic standpoint and functional standpoint, it's just fine. So it is wired hot. You see everything in there. There's my SSRs, heat sinks, the whole panel here, and man, that's a lot of stuff. It was a lot. So I'm really fingers crossed that I don't have anything that I have to fix, or it's minor that I gotta fix, because it's a lot of stuff. We're gonna go ahead and seal this guy up. I still gotta fix this thing, but that'll work for now. I suppose I'll take this tape off in a minute to kind of protect that door, having it open as much as I did. Starting up a sports car. The monkey flips the switch. It's alive!
Oh man, that's cool. I'm sure I gotta go through and do all my settings on this. I don't know how to run all these PIDs yet. I honestly have to do a bunch of reading. That's cool. You can hear the relays clicking over. I don't know if that's supposed to be happening right now, but I'm going to check that. I have to get my labels on this yet, but that is the least of my concerns at this point. So I'm really just happy that works. Just, oh man. So, say pumps are on, boom, kills them. Doesn't kill any of my timer or PIDs, which is exactly what I wanted. Let's see, got it. Shit. I was supposed to kill my element too. I know what I did. Okay, I'm gonna have to fix that. Pop in the tank. It's my, I'm sorry, that's my water, this is my work. EPO hit, back on. All right, so I need to fix this power. So I'm gonna, God, that bolt amp looks really nice too. So kill that, kill my breaker. Open her back up. Alright, so here's my mistake. The power for this I pulled right off of my feeds coming from my timer and my PID up here, and then that feeds my switch, which then feeds my coils. So my coil power is here and over here, so I think I could just pull this off and either drag it to this side or turn around and drag it to this side, and I may not even have to run another cable or anything. So here we go. So as mentioned, my hot feed, which feeds all these contacts, LED, all that stuff, I've now just moved over and ran tied it in with one of the pumps, which is the feed coming after the EPO, which is what I wanted. So that was actually a really easy fix. Fingers crossed that is all I find, so we'll keep testing here. I'm going to go through the settings on these and check these out, make sure it kills my alarm. Make sure I don't got something wrong there. So I did want to test it, make sure it's current here. Where this ammeter goes up. So I got a soldering iron here, so just checking on 1.4. That's so gonna be 400 milliamps is what the 300 milliamps right now. Like the only thing running is my LED and my geez on the 2. It's not a lot. This is my Brew built kettle. Element I put in there a few days ago. I just kind of got stuff strung out right now, but I'm doing my manual mode and getting it up to temp and then running my auto tune. As you can see here, so this is right at about 14 gallons. We're going to see how fast this gets up to mash temp, and then go ahead and see literally how long it takes to start boiling, just because we can. I'm in pain. Okay, so I want to be display 2. I'm going to go to manual. Bump it up to 100. As soon as I flip on this element, I'm going to go ahead and start my timer. It's mash temp. 23.5 minutes. No, too, that's I'm not running my pump. I know that would definitely speed up my time. By how much, I'm not sure, but that's 14 gallons of water. That's cruising. So we'll keep watching this. I want to see how long it takes to start boiling. Coming up on boil. Both of those events to get to mash temp, and then from mash temp to boil with 14 gallons before was an hour-ish, like give or take, and we're at like 48:30. Incredible. And that is it. We are closing out, I don't know, whatever star date I said this morning. It's day 6. That was a start to finish build, and that was work. I mean, real work. I absolutely see now why turnkey systems are really popular, and there's lots of companies out there doing pre-built panels and everything. So, kind of with so many things, it's what's your time worth. I'm one of those people that I don't mind doing a little bit of work to save a little bit of money. Plus, there's a level of gratification in knowing that, like, I built this panel start to finish. Everything of how I laid it out was by my thought, and I executed that plan. So I'm really happy with it thus far. I still need to do further testing. Again, I went with a smaller panel. This is a 12 by 16 panel. I had to do smaller, different size heat sinks up top in order to make that fit. I did all DIN rail components. Yes, I know I still need to put my labels on here. I actually just planned on doing it with a little hand labeler with black and white lettering. Of course, the cassette I ordered was the wrong size, so I'm going to need to make like a Walmart or Target run or something. But I will go through and label all this, or maybe I'll spring for the hard plastic labels. I don't know. I definitely need to do something cool up here for a name, but I suppose I got to think of a brewery name. Still haven't gotten around to that. But that is it. I did find out as soon as you plug your temp probe in and get it all kind of set, and it reads that resistance, it goes ahead and feeds. So that's the temperature of the water right now. I'm gonna do a timer on. I'm gonna check my timer, all that good stuff. But that'll be more to follow. I'm gonna do a brew day and film it as soon as I get this thing figured out, kind of learn how to use all the PIDs and do a couple test runs with water and stuff like that. So if you want to see that happen, keep watching. If you liked this series and elements of this series, hit like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.